And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Friday, August 25th, 2025. And we have quite a few things to talk about. The Alaska weather-related headlines. There are going to be some areas of light snow working up through the eastern Bering, up around the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, along with blowing snow. So there is a winter weather advisory there. Along the Arctic coast, there will be some patchy blowing and drifting snow there as well through the weekend. We have coming up Sunday morning the new moon on April 27th. And in preparation of river breakup, river watch flights, the reconnaissance flights that make note of the conditions along the river will begin. The upper Yukon at Eagle and Circle next week, and then being based along the Kuskokwim River out of Bethel on up toward McGrath. So stay tuned to later updates regarding the river breakup season. And then we are going to see cooler than normal temperatures across the far northern areas of the state, especially North Slope, Arctic coast, down along the west coast through the Bering Strait. But wetter than normal conditions will likely persist into early May across southeast Alaska, especially along the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle. And looking at some of the FAA webcams this afternoon, New Exit showing some blowing snow in 10 degrees. Savunga, overcast skies, 27 degrees. You're going to be seeing some light snow moving in pre-dawn hours of Saturday morning, and with gusty winds, there could be a bit of blowing, drifting snow. That's why that winter weather advisory is in effect for St. Lawrence Island for Saturday morning into Sunday morning. Bethel, overcast skies, a little bit of fog. Few raindrops, 37 degrees. Areas of the southwest interior will see some light rain that could mix with a little bit of wet snow, but definitely some milder temperatures. Then in the southeast, Angoon, there have been a few scattered showers and 47 degrees as of the early mid-afternoon. You can see the cumulus buildups, those convective clouds you get with the especially daytime heating now that we're into the spring. And looking at the hazardous weather map, we do have that one winter weather advisory for St. Lawrence Island for early Saturday morning, pre-dawn, 4 a.m. through 10 a.m. Sunday morning. There's going to be an area of snow that kind of pivots back to the north and west from along the west coast. And there only an inch or two of snow, along with some gusty winds to 30, 40 miles an hour, could cause visibilities to drop to near a half a mile at times. Along the Arctic coast, we have a special weather statement. Just brisk easterly winds through the weekend will create some areas of blowing and drifting snow, but nothing as widespread as what happened the previous 2 weekends. And there'll still be some gusty winds probably even into Monday here, especially around the Lisburne Peninsula, where they tend to hang on to those winds. But here's the latest update from the River Forecast Center regarding the spring breakup outlook. So the ice went out on the South Fork of the Kuskokwim River at Nikolai on Tuesday, April 22nd, and you since have seen some sunshine and a little milder temperatures helping to initiate that initial breakup there in the upper Kuskokwim. Now, the breakup flood potential that is related to ice jam flooding and to significant snowmelt flooding remains elevated across the interior, especially in the middle Yukon, Lower Tanana, Chena, Kobuk, and Koyukuk River basins, due to the higher than normal snowpack that is there, combined with the potential for cooler temperatures to persist into early May. So that's something we'll be watching as the team gets up there on the upper Yukon around Circle and Eagle. They'll have a better assessment as to how things may be shaping up here along this section of the upper Yukon. But other river systems, we are having some openings develop middle upper Tanana, and as noted, the South Fork there of the Kuskokwim River, and things will only begin to progress here as next week we have the first day of May coming up here on Thursday. So looking at the satellite imagery, we've had one little low pressure system move inland up into the lower Yukon across the northern portion of the Panhandle, and now we're watching a couple areas of low pressure back out here from the Bering and into the North Pacific. And looking at what we got, kind of looks like a spider web. The main low is the one sitting here just north of Unalaska in the southeast corner of the Bering. This low is going to kind of pivot back to the north and west between St. Paul and Nunavik Island later tonight and during the day Saturday. This trough will be the focus of some light snow further north across the Seward Peninsula, Kotzebue Sound, Bering Strait, and St. Lawrence Island. There could be locally an inch or two of snow with some stronger gusty winds, especially there out of the northeast there at St. Lawrence Island. Areas across the interior southwest along Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Bay, be mainly some rain, maybe mixed with a little bit of snow. And then we have a couple of troughs rotating up into the Gulf. By Saturday afternoon, you're actually going to get a bit of a break. Places like Yakutat and on over into the Panhandle, not as much in the way. There could still be an isolated shower pop up, but a break Saturday night before the next low comes up out of the North Pacific. And by the time we get into Sunday, here is that next low. So the next shot of rain along the Gulf Coast, especially the northeastern Gulf Coast, that would include Yakutat and much of the Panhandle, will arrive for Sunday evening and Sunday night into the day on Monday, with a little push of milder air coming in up from the south. Meanwhile, the low just kind of sits and spins between St. Paul and Nunavik Island, with a couple of troughs rotating about and a few. The precipitation won't be quite as widespread as this might indicate, more showery in nature and scattered. And then Monday, we find that low that comes up out of the North Pacific across the Gulf will be pulling up into the southeast mainland and forcing this occluded front into the Panhandle, which it'll be weakening, but again, that'll push another round of rain along the Gulf Coast and into the Panhandle for Sunday night and during the day Monday before things taper off. And yet here comes another low, mainly south of the Aleutians, but the energy from that will translate eventually up toward the Gulf as we go through next week. Meanwhile, still some gusty easterly winds along areas, south slopes here, the western Brooks Range and up toward the Cape Lisburne Peninsula into the day on Monday. So temperatures Saturday morning, coldest readings will be Anaktuvuk Pass, could be down near 0, 5 above. Otherwise, lows along the Arctic coast, higher single digits to near 10 above. Readings above freezing, generally in the mid-upper 30s for the Panhandle. Same thing, other than the normally cooler spots, temperatures should generally stay above freezing around the Anchorage area, though again, you get on the east side of town, somebody will get down near just below freezing. We find temperatures, Savunga, 24, so a bit chillier there, but 32 at St. Paul, and in the 30s above freezing across the Alaska Peninsula and down into the Aleutians. Saturday afternoon highs should get back up above 50 degrees in many areas of the Panhandle with the break from the rain, and if you get a few peaks of sunshine, that'll really help with that late April sunshine. Even here across the southwest interior, especially just on the west side and north side of the Alaska Range, we're looking at highs around 50, McGrath, Sleetmute, and also up there around from Fairbanks up through Delta Junction, Tok, we could see readings in the low 50s. Warmer readings will probably be Talkeetna, the lower Mat-Su Valley at Wasilla and Palmer into the 50s. Certainly 50s western Kenai and some 50s there again in the Anchorage Bowl. Temperatures Sunday morning could cool back down below freezing or near freezing in a few of the colder spots where that, if you get clear to partly cloudy skies in south central. In the far north, along the north slope, the passes of their Anaktuvuk, Adigan passes, on over toward Arctic Village, we're looking at lows in the single digits above 0. And then down through the Panhandle, lows could be above 40, especially Sitka down toward the south there at Craig and on over toward Ketchikan. We're looking at low temperatures near or just below freezing in the lower Yukon Valley and going up through the Kuskokwim. And then temperatures Sunday afternoon, very similar to Saturday. Upper 40s northern Panhandle, lower mid-50s southern half of the Panhandle, Wrangell down through Klawock, and then we see high temperatures in the 50s around Fairbanks, going up there toward Delta Junction. We also have mid-50s easily, Gulkana, Glen Allen, as well as Palmer and Wasilla. Temperatures around or above 50 in Anchorage as well, and we're starting to see some temperatures in the 40s persistent there into the lower middle Yukon Valley and the length of the Kuskokwim River. So this is going to help facilitate getting the early stages of breakup going in the upper portions of those rivers. And looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, like what was stated in the breakup outlook that's been updated this Friday, we have cooler than normal temperatures persisting from areas of the central interior along the Yukon River, especially north there along the Arctic coast, North Slope, and areas of the west coast through the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, down to the end there, the outer sections of the lower Yukon Delta, with near normal temperatures south central, southeast mainland, and in and across much of the Panhandle. Now pushing it into May 3rd through the 9th, so this is well into the first week of May. Still that trend for cooler than normal temperatures over northern and western portions of the mainland. Near normal temperatures south central, especially around Cook Inlet, Prince William Sound, the Gulf Coast. Maybe slightly cooler there on the inner channels of the Panhandle. But most notably, as we go into May, precipitation is going to average above normal, especially from southeast Alaska around the Alcan border, McCarthy, Wrangell, St. Elias, in through all of the Panhandle, because we're going to continue to have these weather systems with moist southerly flow coming in off the Gulf. They come up from the North Pacific, and that, look at this, May 3rd through the 9th, still a potential for above normal precipitation in through the southeast mainland, along the Gulf Coast, and especially into the Panhandle, with near normal precipitation, North Slope, Arctic coast, and down along the west side of the mainland.